O'Reilly. The next time you need auto parts and accessories, trust the parts professionals at the 30 Raleigh-Durham O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Our professional parts people know what it takes to get the job done right. Professionals have counted on O'Reilly Auto Parts for decades. Now you can too. Professional parts people. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, race fans. How the hell are you? I'm your host, Steve Billmeyer, a.k.a. Big Sweat, and thank you for tuning in for tonight's episode of Racing with Big Sweat. We got a good show tonight. We got 3 hot shoe drivers that'll be on, so y'all stick around, tell your friends, wake your grandmother and grandfather up, and enjoy yourself. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts that are sitting in with me. First would be my producer, the man that knows all sports, Mr. C.J. Sports. How you doing, C.J.?
How you doing tonight, Steve?
Oh, I'm finer than hen's teeth.
Oh, Jay, I'm just glad to be here tonight. Interesting week so far, so just glad to have the opportunity to sit in with you and Chris tonight and get to talk to some local race car drivers.
Yeah, like I said, we got 3 good ones on, driving 3 different series, so we'll get to cover a lot of things that's going on in short track racing tonight, which is what we do. That's why we're here, is trying to promote your local short track racers. Anybody listening, if you got somebody you think would make a good guest or just want to get them on the show so they can get a shout out, message me or give us a call tonight at 718-664-9861. You can call that number with questions or comments also. If you call in, I'll send you a bottle of my sponsor, one of our show sponsors, Mr. Jimmy Haywood's fantastic snafu seasoning. That stuff's really good on anything you grill, anything you fry. It's good on popcorn, I've heard. I put it on bacon, and I didn't think you could make bacon any better, but it does. So call in. We'll send you some. 718-664-9861. The other gentleman is sitting in with us, the Mississippi Mauler, good friend of mine, Mr. Chris, Yellow Caution Flag, Creighton. How are you tonight, Chris?
How y'all doing tonight?
Oh,
I'm doing great.
We're finer than frogs' hair.
Well, I'm sad.
Why are you sad?
Because race season's almost over.
Oh.
Well, it's still stretched out a little bit. Don't forget the Snowball Derbies in December, so got a little bit of something to look forward to.
That's right, Steve. It's always, you got to have that time, that off season. We'll be into the Thanksgiving holidays right through Christmas, and boy, then everybody will have that itch again. I think if we raced year round, we'd probably see more fighting than racing. Absolutely. Have you ever been to the Derby? No, sir. This is probably my first year down there. Hopefully. I've got my fingers crossed.
Damn, you'll be beating me. I had never been, but it's on my bucket list. I heard it as a show.
Well, Bowman Gray Stadium's on my bucket list, too. So we had one in common, and you've already been to Bowman Gray, hadn't you?
Yep. I don't live but, maybe an hour and a half from Bowman Gray, so it's easy for me to get there. And it's definitely
Did you see the breaking news about Kentucky Lake? That's another thing I'm sad about. I guess it just really stings a lick when you find out that the government's taking this track, and that's one of the most known tracks in the United States. It's terrible.
Yeah, I just saw that about an hour or so ago. I ran across it, and anytime they're closing up a local short track, it really hurts the racing. But like you said, especially when the government takes it over.
Yeah, that was a profitable track, and unfortunately, you won't be able to replace it. You know.
No.
But on the fighter side, I'm sure that those racers will go somewhere else and help raise the car count at other tracks. It's just not the way we want to see it do it. But how about old Kevin Harvick giving Jimmy Johnson a little slug there? What y'all think that's all about?
I don't know if too many people realize this, but Harvick is like Darrell Waltrip used to be when he was racing. He's a master at getting in your head. And I think as much as he was mad about getting wrecked, I think he was trying to intimidate and get Jimmy's mind on him instead of on racing. And I think he's done a good job of it.
I don't know if I was Jimmy, I'd go back and watch him put those sunglasses on. Then I'd know why. He didn't want to get punched in the eye, I'm sure. So that's why he put his sunglasses on just before he did it. Jimmy might rough him up, y'all. Jimmy ain't playing no more. He got to get that 7 championship.
Yeah.
Now, me and Steve had an opportunity Monday to talk a little bit about it. Who did you point the finger to blame on that? I think all three drivers in that whole scenario could actually be blamed for it. And I know that NASCAR Nation is kind of divided on by who you pull for or who you wouldn't mind seeing a race kind of scenario. But when you had the chance to look at the replay, Chris, who did you start pointing fingers at?
I don't know. It's you can only see it from so many sides, and I mean, it was probably more than likely Jimmy's fault. We've seen him behind the grade before, taking chances. Kyle Busch is the king of it, but Jimmy's not too far off from being smart either. So, I think it was just one of those racing deals, and Kevin had every right to be angry. He wasn't expecting to get raced like that by a Chevy driver. He was pointing out that Chevy was going to be strong, and I guess he kind of took offense to that. But, he's behind the grade now. All it takes to win and put him back up there. Clint Boyer's the one. I'm like, okay, man. Is this how you want to go out from MWR?
Yeah, NASCAR kind of dumped on their parade yesterday. Tell you, the best part to me about the Harvick-Johnson feud was Jimmy was starting to walk away, and Delana showed up. And Jimmy got walking real fast then. Delana was fast. I tell you, I think when Kevin gets back in the motorhome or gets home, it's all, yes, dear, no, dear. Of course I'll get you a cup of coffee, dear. I think
if she's anything like my wife, she'll probably push you to do it. He has to stand up for something, or else he's going to get his butt whooped when he gets home. You know how them kind of women are now, Steve. You probably had the experience to have a good woman once in your life.
Oh, not a good one.
Bless your heart.
Each you brought that up. I've been married almost more times than I got fingers. I tell you what, I've been married so many times I've bought 7 lifetime mattresses.
Oh. Well, Steve, we do have our first guest in the studio, so we will go ahead and get him plugged in.
Good deal. We'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest coming up is a dirt late model driver from the South, down in South Carolina. The man's a pretty good shoe. He's got some victories under his belt. We're going to find out how good this year's been and what his plans are. Let's talk to Harley Holden. Harley, how you doing tonight?
Man, we're doing good. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing great. Just glad to be here.
I heard it.
So how are things going? How's your racing season been so far?
Oh, man, it's going really good. I'd have to say this particular year we've set a personal best. We've, I kind of keep up with my wins every year like everyone does, but I've set a personal best this year. We're working, season is not completely over. Right at the moment, I'm starting to travel a little, so we're going to try and hit some of the big races right here at the end of the year, but the regular season at my local track is over, and we managed to clinch the championship this year for 2015 at Toccoa Raceway.
Good.
But
glad to hear that.
we wound up with in my H3 car, I wound up with 14 wins, and then I wound up with I drove another class for my brother one night, and I won in that class one night. So I got 15 on the year, and that's a personal best for me. But yeah, it's been a great year.
Yeah, that is definitely best. Way to go. I knew I'd seen some pictures of you on our Facebook group page, but, geez, I didn't know it was that many. I had lost count.
Oh, yeah.
What's your home
it's
track?
been a great year. The home track is Toccoa, Georgia. It's Toccoa Raceway down in Toccoa, Georgia. Like I said, I actually live in South Carolina, but it's only about 35 minutes for me to haul from South Carolina over to Georgia. But yeah, we run there, most of the time. It's near the end of the year now. The points championship is wound up now, so we're going to travel a little bit. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I will be leaving if I can get my car finished up. We're actually currently in the shop doing a little work to it, but in the morning I'm leaving for Alabama, going down to the to the Alabama State race for the big race that they got going on down there. It'll be kicking off first thing in the morning in Phoenix City.
That race a big money race?
It is. It's not huge money for our particular class, but I mean it's pretty good. So they're definitely going to be. There'll be hundreds of cars down there. The state race with Alabama and Phoenix City, it's big time dirt. It's one of the yearly events, Alabama State Championships, and then they'll have one more toward the end of the year. It'll be the National 100, and that'll pay for the late models. That'll pay a little bit more at the National 100 than the state race, but yeah, it's a big race. Well,
good luck to you there. Your home track, what size and what kind of track is it?
Now, my home track, it's a little track. We're talking real small. But it's super, super high bank. Toccoa, Georgia, is a great track. Super high bank, under new management this year with Mike Davison and his crew. Guys have done great with the track this year and completely renovated, new facilities. But I've raced there all my entire life, so I've seen the track, year after year, and this year it's just been amazing the work that they've done to the track and new facility, new bathrooms, new towers, new fences, new everything. But the old track hadn't changed. It's still a high banked, tons and tons of fun. It's pretty small, but it's hammered down. It's a fast racetrack.
Kind of like Bristol, huh? Kind of small, but really high banked.
That's it.
Well, tell us how you got started in racing, what you started racing, and how old you were and everything.
I've been racing since I was 14 years old. My dad, he raced back in the day, and he run some of the local tracks around here. And with that, the local tracks that he run around here, one of them is not even in existence as a dirt track right now. But anyways, he got my brother and I into racing. He run a garage and, mechanicking and working on the cars. So, we were just kind of raised up around it. And I started racing when I was 14. Of course, my brother started before me, and he and I now, we've been at it, 20 years now. So we've got a full race shop. I run a race shop right here locally. It's the J&H Race Shop. Again, that's my brother, Jackie. He helps me in that. And, we have a pretty cool little deal going. We've got 4 or 5 cars that we operate out of this one shop and keep things going. We sell some racing parts and stuff like that. But, mostly just to support our own habit,
Right.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Chris, you're close enough to Alabama. You could get over there to check that race out.
Oh, yes, sir. We get invited over there about every year, East Alabama Championships, man. I tell you what, that's one of the biggest races around this area. We haven't made it up there yet, but we've got a lot of good friends. Richie Stevens, one of our guys that come down and race with us at Hattiesburg, he'll be there racing in the Street Stock Series. We're going to have to make it over there. Unfortunately, Rocket Man, you know him. Unfortunately, we've got our closing race of the season on the same weekend, so we're going to have to make some adjustments. That way we can get over there. But Harley, so how many years y'all been racing out there?
We've been going out to Phoenix City now since 2001. Yeah, so we've been going for a pretty good little while. But it's I love the track down there. I mean, oh my gosh, you're talking about high banks and fast. Now it's a lot bigger than Toccoa Speedway. So high banked, but you got a lot longer straightaway, so you can really carry some speed diving off into those corners.
Right, it's definitely a different kind of challenge to you. What class are you running over there?
Now, earlier you said dirt late model driver. Now, I'm actually not a dirt late model driver. I actually drive with the Monster Mini Series. I'm actually running the Mustangs. I'm running the 4-cylinders in the pony class. I mean, I've been running those guys for a long time, but I'm running the higher end of it with the Monster Mini Series. I ran with the Cajun Mini Stocks for several years. They're going to be in Arkansas this weekend, and like I said, Monster Mini Series is going to be at Phoenix City, and that's where I'm running. So, actually not what you would per se call a dirt late model driver. I used to run up into the late model cars, but I dropped back down because I just have so much more fun running these mini stocks. I mean, they're a lot of fun. I build my own chassis, build my own engines. It's a little bit more of a fun deal for me than spending, tons of money trying to run up with the big boys.
Right. Well, I guess East Alabama, they just don't have any sanctioned series over there, or is that? I've noticed that they don't run the Neesmith or or like you said, the Cajun Mini Stock. So, is it kind of similar to the rules of what everybody else runs?
You talking about down at Phoenix City?
Yes, sir.
It depends on which division you're talking about. I mean, 4-cylinder wise, I believe during the regular season, East Alabama, they have a 4-cylinder class, but it's more of a stock 4. But when it comes to these races at the end of the year with the extra money and all, usually they bring a series in. The Monster Mini Series is going to be down there for the first time this weekend. But Cajun Mini Stocks, I've run with those guys. It's a good bunch of guys. I've run with those guys several times. And they're going to be there for the National 100. And what Phoenix City normally does, they just kind of let the sanction event come in and take place. I think, for instance, this weekend with the state race, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Southern All-Stars. as far as the dirt late models. Per class, they work with the series and bring them in, and sort of puts on a big time show for the fans at the end of the year.
Yes, definitely a big event right there, and we're gonna have to make ourselves out that way. Approximately how many cars are going to be there, Harley?
It's looking like for my division, there is overall with the entire field, I have no idea, but I've got a ton of people that I know going down there from late model all the way down to 4-cylinder. I know a ton of people. Usually they pack the house. It's a couple hundred cars. I know of 35 to 40 that's going to be there for the 4-cylinders alone, for the Monster Minis. They're probably at least like I said, 35 or 40 for a 24-car field. So it's going to be a make the field kind of deal this weekend.
Right. Well, I mean, you have 14 wins this season, so hopefully you'll be one of the top dogs. That's what's great about those kind of races is they bring in drivers, Steve, from all around and come out there to prove their worth. Most of the time those boys hauling down a couple of 100 miles, they got a reason to show up. They're some at track champion right there.
Oh yeah, you're going to get multiple track champions down there this weekend. You're going to have cars from as far as Tennessee. They'll be driving down to Alabama, and you'll have them out from around Arkansas area coming out. We have seen 4-cylinder cars come out there from as far as Texas before. It's just one of the premier events right at the end of the year here. And, of course, with the Monster Mini Series, we actually have at least 3 more series races on the schedule. They'll have a King of the Carolinas up in Carolina Speedway in North Carolina. They'll do what they call the Monster Mash race. It'll be around Halloween at Harris Speedway. And then they'll wrap things up. I believe the last on their schedule will probably be Cherokee, Gaffney Speedway, right here locally in South Carolina. And they will, it'll be about $5,000 for that race. That's used to be what was formerly called the World Crown 4-Cylinder Nationals. And these races right here at the end of the year, they just draw cars from everywhere. You get all your local track champions coming to compete. So, yeah, I mean, I hope we have a really good shot. I know we got a great car. We've been the car to beat all year at our local track. And, maybe that'll spill over into this weekend for Phoenix City, and I'll have something for the boys down there.
I hear you. I've been to Gaffney. That's a pretty speedy track, isn't it?
Gaffney is really fast.
Yeah.
Gaffney's, it used to be a half mile, and they cut it back, but I'd still say, in my opinion, minus maybe Rome Speedway, it might be one of the fastest racetracks around this area. Gaffney's it's just really, really fast.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought. And for you people listening, if you don't know where Gaffney, South Carolina is, you go south on Interstate 95 till you see this big peach. And that's when you know you're in Gaffney's. You see that peach water tower.
That's right. You get out on Interstate 85 headed towards North Carolina. You're still in South Carolina, but you're going up the road and you see this huge peach. It's the biggest peach you'll ever see here in Gaffney.
Yeah, it's a landmark. There ain't no doubt about it.
I know. It's famous.
You talk about all these guys that show up for these end-of-the-year races, and we used to do a lot of end-of-the-year races and asphalt late models, and everybody's mindset was, well, the season's over. If I tear my car up now, I got all winter to fix it. They drive about 10 feet over their heads like that. Is it that way in dirt racing too?
I don't think it's so much of that mentality. I've honestly, yes, I've heard of that, and I guess for some of the guys it actually happens that way. But I think it's a little bit more of the mentality. Yeah, sometimes it gets a little rough at the end of the year, but I think it's a lot of it is because of the amount of money we're running for. The guys just get that much more competitive for the money. Honestly, I don't know if any of us really want to tear our cars up because the speeds we're carrying, at these a little bit bigger tracks, running for a little more money. Yeah, it gets a little dicey sometimes, but I think it's mostly just because we're all just out there trying to get the big win, the big check. We really, all in all, none of us really want to tear our cars up, even if we do have all winter to fix them back.
Yeah, I know. They have a big late model race at Martinsville about the middle of October. They just had an open practice day last week. But there'll be 110, 120 late models there racing for $25,000 in a grandfather clock. And they don't time trial. It's all Bobo races, qualifying races. And man, them guys will tear up something just to run a qualifying race, get in the big show.
Oh yeah, that's a big time deal there, which everybody wants to look for the grandfather clock. That's a cool deal.
Oh, absolutely. That's the biggest thing that draws people down there. Is the check's nice, but they want that grandfather clock.
Yeah, it's sort of a little trophy there that's so unique that nobody else has got. That's kind of the way it is when we get to travel in these big races. To be called an Alabama state champion or be King of the Carolinas or, the World Crown 4-cylinder national champ, that's pretty big. So that's the biggest thing we're chasing. I mean, somebody gets to be named it every year, but it's just not a very it doesn't come along very easily, I can put it that way.
Yeah, but it's got a lot of prestige to it. It's like you win the Daytona 500 and all year long when they announce your name, it's the Daytona 500 winner, so-and-so.
That's right.
So yeah, there's a lot of prestige to that. I can see that. What kind of family
my brother,
life?
He's the what now?
What kind of family life you got? Are you married?
I am. I got a beautiful wife. She's with me by my side all the time. Tammy Holden. She's with me all the time. We've got 4 kids between the two of us. So we include the kids. I mean, the kids go with us every week, and we make it a family event. My wife and her friends, they support us every week and come and go to the tracks, and they've actually, I believe my wife and her friends, they've made a little group. They call themselves the H3 Chicks, and I believe they're becoming more popular than I am. Yeah, they're it's kind of crazy. Of course, they're all a bunch of beautiful girls, and they kind of they're becoming more and more popular every day. There's people coming to get pictures with them instead of coming to get pictures with me, so I'm not real sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we've enjoyed it. We do make the weekly events, and every race we go to, we make it a family deal, and we got kids that I got 2 9-year-olds, 11-year-old, and a 19-year-old. So we just have a great time and make it a family event.
Well, that's good to hear. You planning on steering any of your kids toward racing?
Oh, I'd love to, but I found the best way to do that is to just not push them. I don't have my kids. I got 2 9-year-old boys right now, and neither one of them are really all that interested in it. My son, he's interested in mechanicking and playing around the shop a little bit, but right now there's no interest in racing, and I'm sure not going to push them towards it. So I kind of figured, I didn't particularly get too interested in it until I was about 13 or 14. So that was late. That's late compared to kids nowadays. Kids nowadays are 6 and 7 years old, wheeling go-karts and moving up through the ranks. And I just, I didn't get started into all that too much. Just like to play, when I was growing up, it was 4-wheelers, dirt bikes, carrying on and mechanicking and stuff like that. But I struck an interest in it when I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I actually started at 14. I figured the best way to do it was kind of like my dad did me. He never pushed me towards it at all. It just becomes something I was interested in. He made it possible,
Well, that's a cool deal. That's good. Family's important. You talk about them starting young. Chris knows a young man, Cruz Skinner, runs down in L.A., Lower Alabama.
Yeah, over there at Talladega Short Tracks. Well, Cruz is a 14-year-old standout. He's got Napa Auto Parts as one of his sponsors. Kid's got a real good head on his shoulders. Been racing for 5 or 6 years already, ever since he was in go-karts. And people are going to hear about him if they hadn't already. He's, I think, locked down second or third place in the Neesmith Crate late model points. Second? Okay. And, he's just one of those kids that's out there, and, he's been behind the wheel for a while. But, like he said, you can't really push it on the kid. They have to kind of want it. Late bloomers are probably more, I don't know, sometimes you just don't have the drivers at that early age that are mature enough. And, you only find a handful of them that really succeed, especially when they go past the starter series and go ahead and jump into something. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to find a talent. If you've got a youngin' that likes to work in the shop or likes to work up underneath the car, that's where your driver's going to start anyway.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with that.
That's a pretty neat deal. He races at Talladega Short Track right down the street from Talladega Speedway, and he's 14, and he's out there racing against Red Farmer. And Red Farmer's so old, he finished second to Ben-Hur in the chariot races. So that's pretty much one end to the other.
Definitely.
Well, give us a holler out. Give a shout out to anybody you want to mention. Harley, your family.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody.
Yeah, I definitely do. First off, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's pretty cool to be a part of the show. And I want to thank all my sponsors this year. A local watering hole, Wendell's Dipping Branch. They have helped me out a lot, and great bunch of people over there, and they're a great sponsor for me. I also want to thank Keith Brady with Schaefer Oil. I run the Schaefer Oil. He's out of Athens, Georgia. He's helped me out and sponsored me this year, and he actually just come and see me this week and hooked me up with a little oil for the state championships. And with our racing program, we have what we do with our car is on our car we have autism awareness. I always like to bring awareness to autism. My wife actually works with special ed kids, so we always like to try and help out with little kids. So we've got autism awareness, we've got cystic fibrosis awareness, and spinal muscular atrophy on our car. And we spend a lot of time with the kids. That's one of the biggest things that we do with the racing. If we can bring an autistic kid to the track and let him have a little time to, just experience something he never got to experience before and touch lives, that's what we try and do. So we get a lot of help, with parents and stuff through the autistic kids and stuff that we deal with. But that's our sponsors. My brother's shop, Jack's Auto, he sponsors and helps me out a lot and partners with me. And then our race shop, Janet's Race Shop. I got a new sponsor just coming on board, Blue Heron Restaurant, right here in the town of Clemson, South Carolina. Tim Chastain and the restaurant down there, he helps me. He's a great guy. But, that's about it. And my wife, thank her for helping me out with or sticking by my side the way she does. And she loves it as much as I do, so that means a whole lot. But, that's about it, guys. I do appreciate you having me on. I am going to have to sneak back out here in the shop. I got a car to button up and get finished and loaded, and we're leaving early in the morning heading for Alabama. So hopefully we can get this thing going for us out here. We're still buttoning up the loose ends and putting it in the trailer.
Okay, man. Well, Harley, it was great talking to you, and good luck this weekend at the championship race, at the Alabama championship race.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, we appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right,
Good luck with you this weekend, and my hat's off to you for working with the autism people and everything.
Hey, we appreciate it.
Fantastic, man. Really is.
Yeah, man. No problem. All right. Yeah, man. We appreciate you having us on.
All right.
Thank
Let us know how you do next week.
All right. We'll do it. We'll do it. Y'all take care. All right.
One more
Bye-bye.
thing. Message me your mailing address, and I'll send you some snafu seasoning. You can try it out and see what you think of it.
Okay. Yeah,
All
that
right,
sounds good. That sounds good, fellas.
All right, bud. Take care, Harley, and thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. All right. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, I do, and thank you for mentioning it. All right, well, we'll go right from him right into another one. This gentleman races at the historic Hickory Motor Speedway. If you've never heard of that place, there's a lot of stock car drivers that have come through there and gone on to bigger and better things. And he'll be able to tell you about that. He's an asphalt late model driver who's also, from what I've seen on Facebook, having a pretty good year. Well, let's welcome in Travis Bird. Travis, how you doing, bud?
Doing good.
Good deal. Glad to hear it. You going to Martinsville for the late model race?
We might be going up there to watch, but we quite don't have the funding to get there this year, but hopefully within the next few seasons we can make our way up there and try to see if we can't keep up with them guys.
Well, I tell you, it's worth the trip up there just to watch the qualifying races, the hooligan races. They are something else. How's Go ahead.
I've been up there I went there 2 years ago with my car owner, Ashley Huffman, and spotted for him. So it's a very unique race just to go there to try to make your way in, or just as a fan to go up there and watch. It's definitely a great show. So.
Yeah, it is. How's your season been going so far?
Well, last Saturday night was our last points race of the year, and we ended the season with 8 wins in a row and 12 on the season. So very strong, and wrapped up the points championship in our division, the limited late model. So really, really strong year. Just couldn't be more proud of all our sponsors and all my crew guys that made it happen.
Well, attaboy, man, that's pretty good. Got the championship at 8 straight in victory lane, huh?
Yeah, it's just I think we went from July 18th all the way up to last week and didn't lose a race. So that's pretty incredible, and to go 2 months undefeated, that's just hard to do at this day and age with as fierce as the competition is anywhere. It's really hard to do that in racing anymore.
Yeah, it sounds like you might have the car dialed in and know the fast way around up there at Hickory. Is Hickory the only place you race?
We raced one race at Tri-County, about 20 minutes away from Hickory there. We raced one race there earlier this year, but I would like to run there more and kind of go some other tracks, so we kind of locked in with sponsorship just to kind of run at Hickory. So mainly this year we've run there. I've raced at Dillon Speedway down in South Carolina and Tri-County. So.
Tri-County still run on Friday night?
Well, this year, Tom Pistone, Jeff Myers, they were doing it on Saturday night, which I'm hoping they get that place going next year, and hopefully we can go up there and run a full season and maybe try to win a championship running there.
There you go. That's the way to go. Man's pretty strong, isn't he, Chris?
Yes, sir. Travis, now Hickory, that's a legendary track there. Tell me how you got started in the racing and how long you've been doing it.
I got started when I was 10 years old. Jeff Caldwell, he used to race late models at Hickory. My dad used to crew chief him, and he'd bought his son Alex a go-kart and kind of got me into it. And I started on the track, so he gave me a chance to start driving a go-kart. And from there, we raced them until I was 16. And my dad and me bought our first limited car and built it from the ground up in the shop floor, and kind of just try to get my feet wet and
try to learn everything and race on my own there for a couple of years. And I got paired up with Ashley Huffman and Audrey Huffman there at the White Huffman Racing, and got put in a famous purple car at Hickory. So I get a lot of prestige due to them, and it's an honor to drive for them every week. And I've been driving for them for 3 years now, and we've it kind of started off a little bit slower than what we wanted, but definitely this year we've had a lot of success, and just it's good to keep the tradition going for them. I know they won a track championship in 1986 with my godfather Tony Warren driving for them, so trying to keep it in the family and just try to keep that car up front for them is a big deal.
That's great. Travis, where are you going to go to your big race at here towards the end of the season? And are you going to make it down to the Snowball Derby?
No, we ain't gonna be able to make that. I think our biggest race will probably be. I was liking to run the Fall Brawl and Late Model at Hickory. Run with that 200 lapper, and also run the Fall Classic there. Probably run them 2 races there, and it'd probably be a season for us. And then get ready over this winter and try to get ready for Tri-County next season.
You mentioned 1986. How old are you, Travis?
I'm 24.
You were just a puppy in 1986.
I was a sparkle in my dad's eye back then. My dad's been in it since 79. He used to work for Banjo Matthews, and kind of always been involved in NASCAR. And so I get it from him. He never drove, but he always has worked on cars. And my grandpa, he used to race. He runs second in points in 1965 to Ralph Earnhardt at Greenville Pickens. So it's always been in our family, and it's really kind of cool to keep it going and to actually win a championship. And it's been pretty cool to see how happy my dad's been. He was part of Robert Yates Racing in '99 with Dale Jarrett, and they won the championship. But I think he's more happy to see me win than he was to win that Cup championship back then.
Oh, yeah, that'll rank up there with it for him. He used to work for Banjo, huh? The biggest thing I remember about Banjo, and everybody knows it, he had a big sign in his shop that said, "Money buys speed. How fast do you want to go?"
And that statement still holds true today.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of car you run? What body style is it?
Well, we run a 5-star Ford Fusion body. I have the car's actually a 07 Craig Marlowe chassis. We've kind of updated the front points to what we kind of want, but it's an older car, but it works really good. We've really got it dialed in this year.
Yeah, back in the day, 90% of people ran Chevrolets in late model stock, and here in the last few years, the Fords have gotten stronger and stronger, and a lot of people are noticing that and switching over to Ford. So that's a pretty good deal. Hickory Motor Speedway, it used to be a rather rough surface. Is it still that way?
Oh, yeah, it's still really rough, and each year it feels like it loses more grip every race, every lap. Definitely a handful to get around and get your car hooked up, but I think also provides some pretty good racing for the fans. Definitely can run side by side or sometimes maybe 3 wide around there. It's definitely fun to get around.
Yeah, definitely so. I had been up there a few times, and I always enjoyed going. It was a lot of competitive racing, full field of cars, and there's just so much history there. I know Bobby Isaac ran there, and Ned Jarrett was the promoter at one time. I can't think of many others. My mind's going blank right now. Help me out.
Well, of course, there's always been a lot of great people come through Hickory. Bobby Isaac, that's probably the most, for me, that was the biggest one of my career was winning that this year. We run second 2 years in a row. To finally win that one this year was kind of get the monkey off her back. That was definitely an important trophy to me to win. And, you think about it, Dale Earnhardt run down there, Dale Jarrett, Robert Huffman used to run Goody's Dash Series, Shane Huffman. Mark Setzer, Pete Silva. I mean, the list goes on of great drivers that have raced at Hickory, won at Hickory, and have moved on and done a lot of great things in NASCAR.
Yeah, definitely.
So your family, there seems to be a lot of rich history up in your family. Maybe we need to tap into you and get some of those guys on the show too, huh?
Yeah. If you could get my dad on here, you'd shock me. He loves racing, but he don't like to talk about it. But I know if you get my car owner on here, Ashley Huffman, he'd give you a lot of history. I know his grandpa first originated the Purple 7. And that was drove back. Actually won the last race on dirt at Hickory and the first race on asphalt with the same exact car with Ned Setzer driving for them. So they've been in Hickory way longer than I've ever thought about being, and they've had a lot of success. That's pretty cool. You think about it, probably 60 years. So we've had a purple car race. They've had a purple car race in there, and it's just pretty cool to put my name on the list of drivers that drove for him. For their race team, they've had people like I said, Ashley, he's drove for them. He's won UARA races. Pete Silva, Dexter Knopp Sr., Jay Fogelman, Mike Skinner, Jimmy Spencer drove their Busch car there. Dennis Setzers drove for them. So, I mean, they've had a lot of history with a lot of great drivers and won a lot of big races, not only at Hickory, but kind of all over the Southeast.
Now, this one is a little deeper. With all the young talent around, do you feel like at 24 you have to prove something pretty fast? I mean, is time ticking out for maybe a NASCAR ambition?
For me, it kind of has. You watch every day, you see someone new, 18, 19 years old, and it's like, dang, I'm not that old, but, each day it goes by, you feel that clock ticking on you. I would still love this day to be able to make it into the Big 3 Series if I ever could. If we could ever get something lined up, the biggest thing nowadays is you got to have the money to get you there. Sometimes talent ain't always that. There's a lot of these guys driving these Cup cars on Sunday, and half of them I don't even know of. But, they somehow, some way got lined up with some money and they got a ride. But, it's still a big dream of mine to hopefully one day get into that. And, like I said, if not, we're having fun and, we're making our own success, and that's all we can ask for right now.
What's been your favorite car number throughout your career?
I can probably say my favorite's probably been 77. We've won a lot of races this year being that, and it's kind of been a turning point for me. I originally drove the 7, which, like I said, for my car owner and them, they've had a lot of success with the Purple 7, and they never put the pressure on me, but I put the pressure on myself to perform in it. We never could really take off with it, and I felt like I didn't deserve to run that number. I wasn't doing it much justice. So we swapped it up, went to 77 because my first summer I used to be 66. So we swapped to 77, and it's been fairly lucky for me so far.
That sounds pretty interesting. You mentioned Dennis Setzer. Dennis drove my dad and mine late model stock car back in the day, and Dennis in the pits was the nicest guy in the world. But he strapped in that car and got out on the track, and you didn't want to mess with him. It was like a totally different person.
No, he is definitely a really good driver, really good talent. It's really cool seeing him right now at the racetrack with his son Brandon Setzer and them going and winning races in the Cars Tour. He's definitely done a lot for Brandon, helped him out a lot. But Dennis is really just overall really nice guy. You couldn't ask for a nicer guy to come talk to you at the racetrack and give you some pointers or just try to help you figure something out. But I definitely hear a lot of stories. He used to get pretty aggressive and go win races up on. You remember watching him in the Truck Series? He wasn't scared to use the bumper at Martinsville to go get a truck win.
Yeah, I seen him up at Talladega. He rode the wall. I think it was 2011, maybe 2010, in the Nationwide Series. He he exploded that joker all over the racetrack, and that wasn't nothing to Dennis. He got out of that thing, told everybody on the camera he was all right. So
I tell you, old Dennis is tougher than a truck stop steak. That man, it takes a lot to knock him around. And it's just like you said, Travis. Yeah, he's the nicest guy in the world. Any other time you talk to him, he'll help you out any way he can. But when he gets strapped in that car, he's all business then, and all he's got his mind on is that checkered flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I raced against Dexter Knight Sr. too, and matter of fact, I was at Martinsville one year when Dexter won that race up there. So Dexter's had a lot of success too. I tell you, there's a lot of talent that has come through Hickory, and from what you've told us tonight, you seem to be the next one in line, winning 8 races in a row and 12 on the year in the championship. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been pretty remarkable. I feel like you look at it last year, Josh Berry had a really phenomenal year in the late model stock division. You see him. I thought he did an excellent job the other week at Richmond driving for Junior Motorsports. He's won a lot of races at Hickory, and that just goes to show. People used to say if you can win at Hickory, you can win anywhere, and I still think that statement holds true today. Yeah,
exactly. I'll tell you, Chris, that's another one you got to come up here, and me and you got to ride up there and check that out. It's definitely worth the travel, and it's a great show.
Man, I'm telling you, these big time networks, they don't know what they're missing sponsoring a couple of guys like me and you to go around and tour these tracks, man.
Yeah, that would be cool. And you're right. That was, I think that was one of the biggest mistakes the Xfinity Series made when they kind of cut out all the short tracks and went to the same 1.5 mile tracks and stuff that the Cup guys go to. I mean, you could really see some shows when it was Xfinity Series on the short tracks. Travis, you got any plans on moving up or any desires or anything?
Obviously, like I said, money's the biggest deal. If we could ever, I got some great sponsorship right now with Gerber Collision and Pepsi and Gatorade and Little Caesars. So if we could ever get some stuff worked out and try to run some bigger races, it would be obviously really exciting for me. I think from here, next year I want to get to Tri-County and try to win some races there and win a championship, but also, maybe look into running a super late model for somebody and going from there. Obviously I think if you get your foot in the door in a super late model, go run some of these bigger races like the Snowball and win some of these big car stewards races going on right now with Stephen Wallace, all them guys running them. I think the door will open for us. We just right now we got to get that first door open to get to the second one.
Yeah, I definitely want to see you down there at the Snowball Derby. I mean, my goodness gracious, that's a big race, and it sounds like you've earned your right to be there with your wins this season. Hopefully something will come around for you so you can get on the entry list.
Oh, we'll see what happens. All we can do is keep knocking on doors and see what happens.
Yeah, you're talking about opening another door. It's another sign I saw. It said if one door closes and another door opens, you're probably in jail. How about your family life, Travis? You married or got a significant other?
Yeah, I got my girlfriend, Heidi. She takes good care of me. She lets me enjoy all the fun at the shop during the week and all the fun at the racetrack on Saturdays. I just got to give her Sunday, at least maybe one day during the week, and we're good to go. I'm very fortunate. She has a lot of supports me doing it. So, she's been a great big help. I can probably say she helped me out a lot this year, just having someone that supports what you do and being there every Saturday night cheering you on. That means a lot to us drivers to have someone that actually wants to be there and support you.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus. Does she go to all the races with you?
Yeah, she sits up in the stands with my mom and my sister and them, sits up there and pulls for me. So she's been there to every one this year except for a few. She's a nurse, so she had to be on call. She couldn't make it to a few of them, but she was there for, I think, 17 out of the 19 races.
Oh, that's good support there.
Are you a tight end next year for this ride, or are you a free agent at the end of the season? I mean, how does that go about?
I think when I first started driving for Ashley, he kind of told me, I always got to see with him as long as I want to race something. So I think I'm secure. Hopefully, he ain't changed his mind on me yet, but I think it's stone for my ride for next year, and I'm sure if anything did come up, if we had an opportunity to drive for someone else, I'd definitely run it by him first if I did anything, because he's definitely been probably I said it's been a great year, but a lot of it goes to him. He's probably the best car owner / driver, coach, and spotter I've ever had. He's really helped mature me and turn me into the driver that I am. But I think he probably works harder every day trying to get me moved up to the next spot more than anybody. He's always looking for a way to help me and try to help me chase my dream of getting into that top 3 series.
There you go. And 12 wins and a championship on the season, that's some job security there. And he spots for you, and your dad crew chiefs for you?
Yeah, Ashley spots for me. My dad, he crew chiefs, and then we also got our shop guy. His name's Casson Kalako. We call him Casper. He's from Seduca Falls. He moved out to Mooresville, North Carolina, to chase his dream of working on race cars, and we got lucky enough to get him in our shop, and he's probably one of the most talented fabricators, and he helps build snouts and stuff in the shop for us when we tear stuff up, and he's a really smart guy. He's also been a key to our success, getting us to where we're at, and then me and my dad, we just kind of fine-tune it from there. Racing at Hickory in the Winded deal, you get 5 used tires, so you kind of got to dial your car into them every week. But he has a pretty good baseline all year, and we just kind of, me and my dad would take the tires we drawed and kind of, obviously work with the sway bar, track bar, whatever we needed to do to get the car back to where we needed it on the used tire program. But, definitely them 3 guys, they're a huge part of our success. I'm just the lucky guy behind the steering wheel.
Oh, wow. Y'all got a shop dog?
Oh, no, we don't. Well, I would say that, but actually he brings his dog around Chase, and I would say he's our shop dog.
There you go. When I worked for Harry Hyde, he had about a dozen shop dogs at the shop. He had one that was a blonde German Shepherd, and this was the year we were racing with Tim Richmond. And every time we'd win a race, we'd come home, and the shop guys, I shouldn't say this, but the shop guys would spray paint the dog. Spray paint number 25 on him and Folgers and everything. So Harry had a pack of dogs up there, I tell you. Explain how that used tire deal works.
It's actually pretty affordable. Instead of going down there and buying 4 stickers every week and spending almost $700, you can get down there for $150. You rent 5 tires. You just go down there, and everybody does a pill draw, and it's kind of levels up the playing field. But at the same time, like anything, there's always a better tire in one stack than the other.
Yeah.
But it really, it makes it more cost effective for the the racer, also saves us a lot of money, but at the same time, it definitely, I think it helps put on a better show for the fans rather than seeing, guys out there on 4 new tires that go and burn them off in 20 laps and slide around. We're sideways from the time the green flag drops, and you just get all you can get and hold on. So, it's definitely pretty fun, but obviously, like I said, the trick is, obviously 1 week you'll have one an inch smaller than what you had, and the next week you'll have one maybe 3/4 or 7/8 bigger than what you had on the right side. So just trying to get back to your wedge and all that, and get back to your bump marks and your frame heights. That's definitely a big deal, and keeping up with all the barcodes and serial numbers on the tire of what's the freshest tires out there right now. You really got to do your homework and stay on top of it to stay ahead of everybody else on that side of it. So you got to rely on some good information coming from other guys. probably call and bug guys all the time during the week trying to figure out, what tire Hoosiers just came out with, what's the barcode number, what's the serial number on them, and try to gain that advantage on everybody else so we can kind of, keep that rolling for us.
Yeah, I've seen where there's quite a few tracks that are switching over to that used tire deal, and it's like you said, it's very cost effective for you. Cuts down on your expenses quite a bit, so I think pretty soon in the future there's going to be a lot more tracks going to that, and that'll help increase the car count if guys don't have to spend so much money just to go in there and race. While we got a second, go ahead.
Yeah. I would say it definitely helps out as far as the guys that come in there with the development drivers and stuff that come in and buy 2-3 sets of tires and mock up every week and qualify and get that extra advantage on stickers. That kind of the used tire program takes that out of the equation. Kind of definitely levels up the playing field and makes it more cheaper and affordable for the average racer.
Yeah, definitely so, and it makes you want to find a good tire man too, because it's an all-day job to work those tires and everything, and a good man, he can keep you up front just having a good tire man.
Mhm.
Completely
agree on that.
Take a few minutes and give some people a shout out that you want to recognize, your crew, your family, your sponsors, whoever.
Well, I'd like to give a big thanks to, obviously Ashley and Audrey Huffman for giving me this opportunity to drive for them the past couple of years, and Doug and Dylan Hauser for everything they've done for me. My dad, obviously, he's worked night and day to get me to where I'm at and always supported me, done anything to do to help me. And obviously Casper, Kyle, Flynn, Andrew Fisher, Ricky Riggs, all the guys that go to the track and help us week in, week out, Chocolate, Fred Clarko, and then all our sponsors, Gerber Collision, Smokies Inc. They've been a big supporter of us this year. Little Caesars, Sports Clips, Hickory Rim Repair, Heavy Metal Machinery, DP Race Fuels, Visual Innovations, J&J Racing Shock, CNS Performance Suspensions, Red Baron Race Parts, Wrench Rags. It's just a whole group of sponsors there, really. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to race 19 races this year. And, then I got to also thank my family, my mom, my sister. They've been to every race between go-karts and limiteds, every one of them except I think my mom missed one. And, I got to thank them for always supporting me, my brother, obviously my girlfriend Heidi, my brother-in-law Dean, and all my nieces that come every week support us. And obviously all my friends and family. I've had a lot of family coming down from Asheville to come down and watch the race at Hickory, so it's been a lot of fun having them down the past few weeks and to be there with us last week during championship night. So big shout-out to all of them, and just everybody's made this still happen. It's, like I said, win 8 in a row and 12 in the season's really hard to do, and it's just I couldn't have done it without all them people behind us. And just a big thank you to every one of them. Like I said, I'm just the lucky guy behind the steering wheel right now.
Yeah, that's a good deal, having your family support you like that and everything, and have them in your corner and cheering you on every week. Tell everybody how they can follow you on social media.
Well, I'm not very good with Twitter. I had that for about a month and got rid of it. I'm not very good on that, but obviously you can follow me on Facebook. Just send me a friend request, follow us on there, or go to Dwight Huffman Racing, their Facebook page. They keep updates on me, and also my car owner Ashley, when he races, along with teammates Dylan Hauser and Barron and Dan Moore. So always got updates on all of us running, and also have an Instagram account. You can get on there and follow me on there. I always post pictures of us at the racetrack. So. Well,
you're not alone. I can't deal much with Twitter either. It's a little over my head.
That's pretty. Everybody asks me, like, how can you not run Twitter? I was like, I can't get into it. I can't figure it out. I just assume I got Facebook figured out. I can do that all day long. So
yeah, that's me. I can get to Facebook, and that's pretty much it for me. Travis, I'm glad you came on, man. I really enjoyed talking with you, and we'll keep up with what you're doing. And I'd like to get you back on here later on in the year, in the off season, get you and your dad on together, and I'm sure we'll be able to hear some stories then.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll talk to him and see what we can do. See if I can get him to come on board to do an interview with us. Like I say, obviously he's been in it for several years. I'm sure he's got a lot of stories to tell and a lot of cool memories to share with everybody.
Yeah, I bet. And message me your address, and I'll send you some snafu seasoning. Let you try it out. See what you think of it.
All right, sounds good. We'll do.
Good deal. Travis, thanks again for coming on, bud. And you've had a spectacular season this year. I hope it keeps right on next year.
All right, thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate it.
Good talking to you, Travis.
Bud.
All right, see you.
See you now. Take care. And with that, let's roll right along to another driver. This gentleman isn't from one of the Carolinas. He's a little bit farther west in Oklahoma, but he's a sprint car driver, and he's a shoe, too. I'm telling you, we got some winners on here tonight. So let's not waste any time, because I like to hear him talk. Let's get this gentleman out, Stephen Shebester. Stephen, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm pretty good.
And that's good to hear. How's your season gone so far?
It's been all right. It's had some this year. Got 6 wins so far on the
there you go.
micro sprint stuff. Just a little bit of midget racing here with a couple top fives. Just now trying to show and be racing now.
Where's your home track at?
A little bit of an issue.
The home. I say the home track for my crew was probably Oklahoma City at I-44 Speedway, and then you got Tulsa at Port City.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was a good one. And then you got the midget series of Power Rock Fest.
Technical difficulties, people. Please stand by.
Yeah, Steve, I think he's having a little bit of can you hear me now issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, we almost got you back. Maybe, well, you know, they used to have antennas you could stick your finger on, but I don't know how you do it these days.
So what got you into racing, Stephen? How old were you when you started, and what kind of cars did you start out in?
I've been racing micros for 10 years. So I started when I was playing drag bikes when he was my age, and then he got into sprint cars. And I grew up at the track watching he raced cars down here. And I used to go out to the track with him and roll around in the dirt all the time and watch him collect his trophies. And, you know, I always did to bow out. Get me into the micro racing and street classes. Ever since then, it's been fun.
Have you ever or have you ever done any asphalt racing, or are you strictly a dirt man, strictly a sprint car man?
I've done a little bit of go-kart racing on asphalt. Nothing any bigger than cars or super modifieds or anything like that.
Yeah.
I've always been first.
Mm.
Really not asphalt race. It's track. I mean, you get like Donnie Wilson, he races asphalt, and he's got a out first and out to the West Coast. There
you go. You got any plans to move up in the bigger and better?
I raced it last year for a guy in Texas named Rick Bailey, and a lot of fun with it. And here decided to go a different route and kind of do a rent-a-car deal for a little while and experiment with some other drivers. And we finally decided to, me and my sponsor finally decided to go get a midget and try to get it together. And we can run a Power Rally National and Power next year. So I think last Saturday, picked up. Let's see how that goes. Ended up selling the sprint car.
Oh, wow. You run any of the big races at Knoxville or any of the big sprint car tracks like that?
No. Go to the IMCA Nationals in Nebraska, and that was a lot. And ran a lot down in Texas, mostly around like Devil's Bowl, Kennedale Speedway, and Boyd. Did a little bit of non-wing and.
So you go around to a lot of different tracks. Which one seems to be your favorite one, where you have the most luck?
Car or micro?
The micro.
The micro deal. Fort City is a lot of fun. You know, I've been running there since about 2005. But you know, we went anywhere from Illinois to Pennsylvania. Nebraska, all over the place on with that. So I think Illinois where we had a big show. So that's a lot of fun up there. Had a lot of fun with that track. I haven't had much luck up there. It's on I-44 and also where I have the most luck at. You know, it's pretty good. We got a golden driller at the shootout. I love doing this year. Tulsa Expo Center.
I think we're having a little bit of difficulty hearing, maybe a bad connection on your end there, Stephen.
Oh.
Yeah, you seem to be fading in and out there. Sounds like you race all over the country, and that's probably a special privilege there to be able to do that. And how long have you been doing this gig?
15 years. I didn't start until running the small stuff and the micro and after never did kind of points. We always went and traveled and hit up all the big shows we could, get more experience as a driver, other different tracks and stuff like that. I have my family behind me and they put me in all kinds of stuff.
Great. Steve?
Yeah, bud.
You got anything for him?
Tell us a little bit about your family life, Stephen. Have you got a wife or a significant other?
In the non-link stuff. He's so, and then other than that, I got my mom, dad, grandma's, and they're all big supporters of my race, and I got to thank them for that.
Still having a tough time hearing you there, Steve. Can you get a better connection, or maybe do you have a? It just keeps fuzzing in and out, and I hate that. I mean, it sounds your career sounds so interesting, and we've only gotten to hear just bits and pieces of it.
I've moved around. I got full birds. About I'll try to.
Unfortunately, I think the producer's going to have to pull the guest here. Stephen, if you can call us back with a better connection, we'd be glad to finish out the interview there. We definitely wanted to give you a chance to thank all your partners that help you get there. Since we've gone through most of this interview already, you can go ahead and thank your sponsors. Hopefully we'll be able to get some of them in there if you really don't have another way to call us back.
Fly, Guardian Taylor, Step Chassis, Victory Nation, Infinity Sharks, so Kaiser Wheel, and Outlaw Wheels. There's a bunch of other people that helped me out along the way, friends and family, and a bunch of people that lend a hand here and there.
It was really great talking to you, Stephen. I think maybe we'll be able to get you back on and get a better interview from you there. I hate that we're having some trouble hearing you, but make sure that you keep listening to the show there, and we're glad to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Steve?
I'll try to get you scheduled on again, because I'm like Chris, it sounds like you've had a pretty interesting career, and I'd love to talk to you some more. We appreciate you being on tonight, though, and message me your address. Let me send you some snafu seasoning. See how you like it, and let me know.
Have we lost the caller?
Yeah, I went ahead and muted him since we were really unable to hear him. But he can still hear us. He's listening still.
Yeah. Well, that sucked.
Well, that's great. I don't know how it was both ways, unfortunately. But, I mean, obviously the guy's got a lot of experience and a lot of racing a lot of different places. Sprint cars, they seem to travel a little bit more, and especially the Sprint Series. It's definitely it's a racing of its own, I would have to say. I mean, I've heard it referred to as bathtub racing, but sprint cars, you have to be a special driver to race in the sprint car program.
Yeah, you definitely
have to be addicted to
traveling.
Yeah, not afraid of speed.
He said he'd been up there with Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is a pretty large sprint car population up there. The Pennsylvania Posse is, I think, what they call them.
Hey, now, I'm telling you, CJ, there's some bad mojos around. Some of these guys have been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, I think that's one of the oldest sprint car series right there, isn't it? It was the original one.
Yeah.
The Pennsylvania
they originated up around the Pennsylvania area, and I think the name that he just said, if I'm not mistaken, right, I had a man give me some history on that, and that's where they originated from.
Yep, they're pretty strong up there. while we got a moment, Chris, take a second or few and give a shout-out to anybody you want to, and let us know how we can follow you on social media.
Anywhere around the Mississippi, Louisiana, or Texas, or Alabama area, we'll be at Hattiesburg Speedway tomorrow night for the season finale, Curtis Burns Memorial Modified Challenge. It's going to be almost $3,400 up for the winner in the modified purse. Probably one of the biggest purses you've ever seen around this area in the modified. So hopefully they're going to show up to show out. You can find all of our stuff on yellowcautionflag.com, Chris Creighton on Facebook, and, of course, yellowcautionflag.com on Facebook as well. You can follow us on Twitter at Flag of Caution, and, of course, right here on the radio show every Thursday night.
Yeah, we are. We're definitely on every Thursday night. And it sounds like a pretty good bit of pocket change Hattiesburg's going to be putting out this weekend.
Yeah, it's the 4th annual Curtis Burns Memorial, and a lot of people stepped up to help make this a pretty big purse. It's going to be some IMCA cars and some USMTS, and they're all going to have to be running under a modified UMP class, so we're hoping to have 45, 50 cars. I don't think that's outrageous to believe. Now, in order to get that extra $1,000, you're going to have to start at the rear if you have the pole. Man. So if you get the pole, but now let me tell you something. We had Mike Miller and them from the Southern Outlaw Sprinters come down back in July, and it's called the Flip-Flop 50. They run 25 laps, then they invert the field, and they run 25 more. Mike Miller started from the very rear, changed the rear tire, and come up to second in those 25 laps. This is a 40-lap feature event, so, the sprint cars, they're a little bit faster than modifieds, but if you get some green flag racing, you can definitely be able to move up through there and take that extra $1,000 from Tri-City rail cars.
I've heard about races like that and read about them, and a couple of our early guests talked about that. They run a 25-lap race, invert the field, and then run a 35-lap race.
Yeah, that's their normal. They have 5 flags in Pensacola or Mobile. That's where how they normally run their program. Is called a 25-35 race. I think we've had one of the guys on the show to talk about it.
Yeah, I think it was Wayne
McDecken Jr.
Yep. I think it was him that was telling us about that. And that dude's had a pretty successful season too.
And both you guys are around the short track scene, obviously more than I am. What is appealing about the invert races? I'm trying to visualize what attracts people to want to participate in a race, and halfway through, the field gets all shuffled up. So what you worked half the race for kind of goes to waste, and you got to really kind of strategize it and do a whole other race. So what is so appealing, and what's the attraction to those types of races?
First of all, I think what it does, it brings out that real racer in somebody. Now the flip-flop, that was just a way to promote good dirt track racing. You're always going to have those that we call sandbag and set themselves up for the next event. Of course, there's, rules against sandbagging, but, you can have certain things happen and make sure that you get a better starting spot. What it does for the fans is, if you'll take notice, a lot of these guys, they got 14 and 15 wins, or they're struggling. They may have one win. That's the way it happens at local tracks on a weekly basis. Sometimes the driver gets hot, and he may be hot for the whole year. There's been times where drivers been hot for several years, and somebody just had to finally take the throne. Johnny Barr, Johnny Stokes, a few of the names around here that just at one time went out on a chair. What it comes down to is giving the fans the entertainment. The one thing that I talked about on here is the way that Bowman Gray Stadium sells their races, because you never know what you're going to get when you show up there, and I think that's a good promoter's tool. Tracks these days seem to have too much governorship, and it should be more of a dictatorship. I know some people argue with me, but you're there for the fans. And if you got the same car winning all the time, I think it always adds a little bit of interest if you do something like that. Now, in this case, they don't have to. But if they want an extra $1,000 and they think they are top dog of the field and they sit on the pole, they do have the chance to start in the rear. And who knows? 4 fresh rubbers and you may bring you home the big payday. You're definitely not going to get the lap money, all the lap money, and you're definitely not going to get the halfway money unless you have a lot of caution. So, it's a challenge. I think there's other ways to make up that $1,000. But, you never know.
Yeah, the drivers are kind of half and half about whether they like it or not, because if they're fast, they don't want to have to come up through the field to get back to the front. But the fans like it for that reason, too, that they have to come up through traffic and come up to the front to win instead of being fast qualifier, start on the pole, and just, lead the whole race.
Think about Earnhardt. Think about Earnhardt at Bristol, where they penalized him 3 different times, and he come from 2 laps down, and wrecked Terry Labonte on the last lap. I mean, I think a lot of times, I was right about Denny Hamlin, wasn't I? He had the hurt foot, he goes out, he has the hurt leg, goes out and wins. It's just something about it when they're put under pressure, the real race car driver comes out in them. We talk about how mental this game is, this sport is. You think about it, when you're challenged, you go all out. Sometimes you just half-footing it. I think Dale Earnhardt got accused of that several years ago.
Yeah,
Dale Earnhardt Jr., I should say.
You're exactly right about what you said. When the pressure's on, the real race car drivers will overcome the pressure and get to the front, and that's going to make the next 2 chase races real interesting, watching Kevin Harvick and see how he does. And I'm sure he'll turn it on.
Steve.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Chris?
He's still on the line. I'm not hearing him, though. I'm not hearing him either, though.
I thought it was just me. All right, well, we'll wait for him to come back. CJ, tell everybody, give a shout-out and tell everybody how they can follow you on Facebook. Tell them about your shows.
You guys, first of all, you guys can check me out on Facebook. My fan page is Mr. CJ Sports. You can hit me on Twitter at CJ Sports1. You can hit the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. We have the 110 Nation Sports Show Monday through Wednesday from 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. Have a lot of great guests. We just had David Levine last night from the ARCA Series on the show. Had a blast with him. Also, make sure you guys check out our company site over at www.the110nation.com. And I want to say thank you to all the guests and all the fans that have been tuning in ever since we came back on in July. Every month, the listenership has increased dramatically, and we've almost doubled what we started off with July. So I want to thank everybody out there that keeps spreading the word and tuning back in every show.
That's definitely stronger than 10 acres of onions to be able to do that. I'm glad to hear it. And while we're on the subject, Mr. CJ Sports and myself do a new show on Monday nights from 7 to 8 o'clock called Rubbin' is Racing. Mostly on NASCAR racing as opposed to what we do here with short track racing. So we've got it covered either way. Y'all give us a listen on Monday nights, and who knows, might give you a little insight into what's happening in the NASCAR series. If you want to keep up with me, I'm on Twitter at Big Sweat, NASCAR Heartbreaker and Homewrecker, but it's a little over my head, so I'm not on there much. But it's easier to find me. Join my Facebook group, NASCAR and Other Racing. Pulling up close to 6,500 members, and we've only been up not quite a year and a half yet. So we've got a lot of people in the group, a lot of drivers, a lot of women, a lot of young people, and word of mouth is getting out, so we're ever expanding on that. It's a good deal. Come check us out. We do group race threads for every televised race, NASCAR, IndyCars, Formula One, NHRA. Tire on it. We're on it too. The race thread, we get a lot of the group members together and we comment back and forth while we're watching the race and ask questions and everything. So it's a cool deal. You ought to come check it out if you hadn't already. Just come join the group, NASCAR and other racing. We'd be glad to have you. Well, rolled up on 10:30, so I guess we're going to have to shut this party down. I don't really have any guests lined up for next week's show, but I'm definitely going to try to get Stephen Shebester back and finish talking to him. He sounds like a pretty interesting dude, and we'll get a couple others on here. Listeners, if y'all know of anybody you'd like to see on our show, just send me a message 110 Sports, and we'll get them on. We'll be glad to get them on. So let me know, and thank you very much for tuning in, and continue to tune in. We do appreciate it. Tell your friends, wake your grandma and grandpa up, get them all up, and come listen to what we got to say. All right, we'll talk to you next Thursday then. Tune in on Monday nights if you want some NASCAR information, and we'll talk to you next week. Good night.
Hey, Steve, CJ, can you give us some closing out music, man? I mean, got anything on tap there? Like goodbye, farewell. We hope you tune in next Thursday. Goodbye, farewell. CJ Sports and Big Sweat and Caution Flag. All right, bye, y'all.
Yeah, we got to get some closing music just to keep him from singing.
There you go.
That's all I got to do is we'll have closing music next week. Brought to you by CJ Sports and 110 Nation Sports. You got it, sports.
There you go. Oh, man, it's been a fun show tonight. I tell you, I've had a lot of fun, learned some stuff, too.
Oh, yes.
Much like dating one of my ex-wives, I hope we can do this again.
Well, on that one, I got to go. Bye,
yeah, me. I don't want to think about that, or I won't sleep tonight. I'll be scared to close my eyes. Hey, so, good night. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Kohl's Fall For You sale is going on now, and you can take an extra 15% off through Saturday. Go to Kohls.com to download your savings pass. Then use it on top of already great savings, like 30 to 50% off the LC Lauren Conrad collection. Save on denim for her, and save 30 to 40% on handbags and fall fashion accessories. Plus, everyone gets $10 Kohl's cash for every $50 spent. Right now through Saturday at Kohl's. Select styles, some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.